Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So now we've got a very exciting presentation on the Digital Transformation Partnership. We're joined today by Patrick Roberts, VP Sales and Operations from SSI, who'll be co-presenting with Michael Deutsch, who's the Director of IT at Huntington Ingalls. Just a reminder that if you want to put forward a question, please use the chat and question bar on the live discussion, and we'll ask them at the end. Thank you, gentlemen. Over to you.
All right. First of all, we want to thank everyone for attending our session. SSI is actually a sponsor of PI Marine USA this year, and we'd like to thank them as well as our SSI corporate office, Ingalls Shipbuilding management, for approving us to do this presentation with you on our a case study of a shipyard digital transformation partnership that both SSI and Ingalls have been traveling down for the past several years now. It's our primary goal from this presentation for everyone to kind of understand the mindset that needs to be in place in order to establish a strategic partnership with a shipyard progressing through this digital transformation. And so we've been lucky enough to engage with Ingalls, Mike Deutsch, who's Director of IT, and he's going to give you more of a presentation than SSI could possibly ever give you as far as what they've done with this digital transformation partnership with us. So I'll pass it over to Mike.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Well, actually, it's good afternoon where you are in some cases. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about a digital transformation partnership. And we at Ingalls Shipbuilding a long time ago realized that the normal vendor customer relationship wasn't good enough to meet all the goals that we had in our company. So in order for us to adequately transform the shipyard to a digital or more digital shipyard, we knew that we had to form partnerships. So what Patrick and I are going to do today is we're going to kind of give you a glimpse into what our partnership has been like, how it's been developed, and we're going to give you some examples of, what we've done over the years in that partnership. But first of all, taking a look at Ingalls Shipbuilding. Ingalls Shipbuilding is located in Pascagoula, Mississippi. It sits on an 800-acre facility, so it's a fairly large shipyard. It has full service capabilities. We can do new construction, overhauls. We do kitting packages for the Navy. We do a lot of different types of work. We have 4 major programs currently under construction. If you look at the lower right-hand corner of your screen, you can see we currently build amphibious assault ships, LPDs, guided missile destroyers, DDGs, landing helicopter assault ships, LHDs, and then we build cutters for the Coast Guard. So we have 4 major classes of ships that are now flowing through our shipyard. We also have comprehensive life cycle services for the CG-47, LPD-17, and LCS class ships. We're the largest manufacturing employer in Mississippi with over 11,000 employees. 2,000 of those employees are in Alabama. 1,300 of those are veterans. We also have a very large maritime training academy where much of our employee training is done. And we like to think of ourselves as an innovative and agile solution provider. You can see that our priorities are first safety, quality, cost, and schedule. We live by all of these things, and our partners are expected to live by them also. And these are the things that we look to enhance through our various partnerships. So, there we go. So, if you look at the right-hand part of the screen, and we talk about technology and we talk about moving to a digital transformation, if you look at the upper part of that screen, you can see that's engineering done on vellum. And, years ago, that's where you did all your engineering. You did it on vellum, you overlaid it. Everything was done in a paper environment. Then you moved on and you went to computer-aided design and computer-aided manufacturing, which is represented there in the middle. And then down on the bottom where we are today is 3D models, 3D design, and then managing that design in product lifecycle managers. So, how do you go from each one of those stages? And one of the more interesting things is our shipyard, not so long ago, actually had ships that still had design in vellum, still had design in computer-aided design, computer-aided manufacturing, and we had 3D designs. So how do you go from one of those levels and transform yourself so that you can get the most out of what technology has to offer? You do that through a partnership. And that's years ago what we established with ShipConstructor. We actually established a partnership, and in a lot of instances, ShipConstructor has helped us go from the vellum to the 3D designs across our shipyard. So what is a partnership? Well, we came to the realization that, partners got to be people that cooperate with each other and have joint goals and responsibilities. What's important to me has to be important to my partner and vice versa, because, that's the only way you get to an established and an ongoing relationship. One of the biggest revelations I think that we received about being partners is the fact that you got to have the realization that both companies are for-profit organizations. If ShipConstructor don't make a profit, they aren't going to be around very long. And if Ingalls don't make a profit, they're not going to be around very long either. So when you come to the realization that you're both for-profit organizations and you act that way and you look for win-win solutions between you, then you can create an environment where the goals of both entities are the things that are considered, they're the things that you put on your roadmap, and then they can lead to a healthy relationship also, because in a partnership, it's not always going to be good times, high fives. You're going to have issues, you're going to have disagreements, but if you build your partnership right, you'll be able to work things out even when you don't agree with each other. We've had a lot of instances over the years where that's happened. And then once again, like I said earlier, your partnership has to have a set of mutual goals that benefit both partners. If it's all one-sided, it never works out. So there is a certain amount of give and take on both sides of that equation. And another important thing about partnerships is they're not a contractual obligation. They're not built out of contractual agreements. They're things that are developed by people that are working with each other. So Pat has an example of the transformation that took place with us as we went from what you saw on the top of this slide, which is all vellum and some CAD and some CAM, to where now every design in our shipyard is done in a 3D model. So go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, so where we started down this journey, we actually started with Avondale Shipyard, which was a part of Ingalls Shipbuilding, and they took over the national security cutter for the Coast Guard, and the ShipConstructor software was being used on that program exclusively. However, there was other programs that Ingalls was doing. The LPDs, the LHA, and the DDG programs were all being done in different CAD systems. And what it did was it allowed Ingalls Shipbuilding to look at those different programs and look at some of the things that we took to heart, which was cost and schedule. And so in looking at the National Security Cutter Program, it was on schedule and on budget. And so it allowed Ingalls IT group to kind of look and analyze that program and look and see what was going really well. And one of those things was the use of ShipConstructor CAD solution. And so it allowed us an opportunity to kind of showcase what we could do and some of the things we had done with building a team that could support Ingalls in their other programs. And what it did was it allowed them to look at those other programs, look at the cost and the schedules and the quality, and give us an opportunity to help them in achieving some of the goals that they had in place. Mike?
Yeah, so one other specific example I'll give is when we decided to translate our LPD design into ShipConstructor, it looked like it was going to be a really major, complex, hard effort. And we had a design tool that we've been using ever since LPD 17. And we told ourselves that because that tool was getting old, out of date, it was time to translate it. So any of you that are engineering folks that have went through a translation from one design tool to another would understand that it's not an easy effort, and it usually costs a lot of money. Well, what we did is we got together with ShipConstructor, and we worked hand in hand together to build a set of translators that then ShipConstructor used to translate our LPD design into their tool set. We did the same thing on our LHD program. So by getting together, by talking with each other, by working together towards a common goal, we were able to do all these translations and do them for a much lower cost than we had originally anticipated. So that's just an example. So over the years, we've been working on a strategic partnership with ShipConstructor, and we've developed that. What were some of the things that went into the development of that partnership? Well, number one, if you're in shipbuilding, you know that you're in a very competitive environment. Maintaining a competitive edge is paramount and important to winning new business. If you don't win new business, you don't stay in business very long. So we've been very adamant about taking cost out of our processes to remain competitive. And taking cost out isn't just saying to your vendor, do it cheaper for me, man. Give me cheaper license prices, and because if you don't, I won't stay in business. That's not what it's all about. It's about working together, because shipbuilding is very complex, and aligning the goals between both the vendor and the business so that they're working in the same direction. Fulfillment of those business goals is paramount to taking cost out of your business. So one of the things that we need to keep our mind on is a lot of times we get in a trap, and we go out and look at technology and take technology just for technology's sake. So we bring technology into the business because it looks cool, has a lot of bells and whistles. Yeah, we think it might do something. Well, that's not how this partnership and other partnerships we've developed has transpired. Actually, the way we've worked this partnership is our future business goals as Ingalls Shipbuilding has helped drive the technology selections we've made. And where we have strategic partnerships, it helps to drive their roadmaps for what they develop. And in doing that, we can take cost out of our processes, and the vendor develops a better tool that they can market. So the real key and takeaway on this slide is, as strategic partners, that continuous development gives us a better tool set, allows us to take cost out of our processes, makes us more competitive, and allows us to focus on the business while the vendor focuses on the tool and what that tool can do to enhance our processes, thereby making it cheaper to produce a ship and making us more competitive. So So as we do that, and as we become more competitive, as we've used the ShipConstructor tool and we've deployed it across all the classes in our business, what is the challenge that we're looking at today? Well, if you look at this chart in the upper right-hand corner, your CAD systems, your product lifecycle managers, your enterprise resource tools, they're somewhat integrated. But as you look at industry today and as you look at where technology is going, they're increasingly getting more and more integrated. They're sharing data more than ever before. And what affects one tool is affecting other tools. So in order to address where we want to go and reach a greater level of integration, which will then also allow us to take cost out of our processes, we got to look at how do we integrate these tools together? How can we consolidate suppliers? How can we get less suppliers that are providing us more capability for similar costs? And as we do that, we can reduce that supplier pool. We can create agility and also create stability for our business. As Pat will tell you, how long have we been partners, Pat?
I think the first sale of a ShipConstructor product was back in 2001. So we've been with, we'll just say, variations of Ingalls as it's grown since 2001. But over the past 15 years, we've been heavily involved in this digital transformation that Ingalls has been going down.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different ways that ShipConstructor has been helping us. Talk about some of the ways that you've been helping us in this partnership.
So a couple of things when you talk about, we'll just say improves supplier quality. One of the things that we've tried to do is make sure that our executive level managers are meeting on at least an annual basis, if not biannually. And so our CEO, Dennis Moray, he flies down to the Gulf Coast and we meet with the executive management team. We both share our high-level roadmaps, technology roadmaps, and the roadmaps that Ingalls plans on looking at over the next several years. And we look at trying to align those to make sure that we're all on the same page. And I think that what's occurred is a level of transparency, which is the other bullet, which comes from some trust. A trust in that both we're doing the same things, we're working in the same direction to try to do the things that are important to Ingalls and our business. We've even had sessions where we've looked at manning charts to look at the best, Mike and myself, to look at the best use of licenses during the engineering process. So it's when you talk about a true partnership, it's one that we take to heart, and we look at the overall goals that Ingalls Shipbuilding is trying to achieve.
So that's very important. What he was saying there is we just recently had a time when we were looking at the engineering manning and what it was doing and how it would affect the licenses that we needed. And believe it or not, we worked together and found a license model that was beneficial for us and beneficial for ShipConstructor. Was it the best license model that ShipConstructor may have wanted that would have made them the most money? No, probably not. But it was the one that best fit the way we were interacting as a team, and that's the one we decided to choose. So it worked out very well. And like Pat was saying, the transparency and the being able to look at each other and sit down with each other and see what's going on in each other's business and talk about it and talk about what's best for us versus what's best for them, leading to what's best for both of us, has been a great journey for us. So once again, it always hasn't been rosy and high fives. Breakdowns have occurred. And one thing that we don't do is we don't immediately point a finger at each other and put the blame on one side or the other. What we do is we sit down together, we look at the problem as a team, and as a team, we bring those things to resolution. So our relationship is one, even where we do find an issue, we can go to each other and talk about that issue. And I'll give you an example of that that was here recently. Last year, we found Ingalls that we were violating a part of the ShipConstructor contract. We went to ShipConstructor and said, hey, look, didn't realize we were doing this. We were using more licenses than we should have on a particular program. We went to ShipConstructor. We sat down with them. We talked about it, and we brought that issue to a resolution together instead of ShipConstructor, coming out and saying, oh, yeah, you couldn't do that. I'm going to shut you down because you aren't using the licenses correctly. Or us saying, hey, look, man, if you'd have been here helping us understand this, maybe we wouldn't have done this. That's not how it worked. So that's just an example of the collaboration that we have together. And, when you get to the bottom line, it's a lot of work to create that kind of relationship and work that way together. But I'm a firm believer that without those kinds of partnerships, that that we as a shipyard would bring technology into the shipyard, and that technology, just because it looks good or it feels good or it sounds good, when we implement that technology into the shipyard, it would drive the shipyard rather than enhance the shipyard and the way the shipyard is doing business. So, when you look at this and you get down to the bottom line, the success is when you look at people and technology and process, the partnerships that we create, especially one with ShipConstructor, has helped us to integrate more. It's helped us not to integrate tools per se. It's helped us to integrate people executing the right process with the right technology that will allow us to do our work in the most efficient way possible. And in us doing the work the most efficient way possible, it's allowed us to take step functions of cost out of our processes. And what does that mean? Well, if you look at the right hand of the screen, we've had a lot of success in the past. We've delivered a lot of ships, but on the other side of all of that, take a look. We've got a good backlog of business. We've got LHDs in backlog, LPDs in backlog, DDGs in backlog, and we've got the security cutters in backlog. So to go to the bottom line of all of this, innovation is not synonymous with technology. We all like to think that, if we get better technology, man, if I have an iPhone 11, I can do so much more and get so much more done. So we go out and get an iPhone 11, and we find out that we don't use 10% of the capability that tool has. And oh, by the way, that tool starts to drive how we act and what we do as we go forward. We didn't take the time to sit down and work with a partner and figure out, an iPhone 7 or an iPhone 8 could have done all of this and done it more efficiently for the way that I need to use the technology. So innovation is definitely not synonymous with technology, but it's all about collaboration with strategic partners or people, building relationships where the real innovation is conceived. And when you do that type of collaboration with your strategic partners, then their tools develop into what you need to be able to execute more efficiently And then when you execute more efficiently, be more competitive in the marketplace. Patrick, any comments to wind up?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the other things, and I'm going to put words into Mike's mouth, but he can echo it if he believes it's true. But SSI has been in business for 30 years. We've targeted shipbuilding product solutions for that 30 years. The U.S. office has been open for 15, and I think because of some of the way we've positioned our products, with it having an open architecture and ability to integrate with other systems. We base our product on COT solutions with Autodesk and SQL and AirSPLM. I mean, some of the tools that that you can actually do development on and take control of that. You don't necessarily need SSI as a system integrator. What you really need is the products that'll allow and facilitate the ability to do so. And SSI can help with steering you in certain directions, but it allows the shipyard to retain a competitive advantage without actually having SSI put it into the software. They can still do things on their own. And so that was one of the things that I feel like that our executive management team has helped us with, assuring that we're aligned with doing the best for our customers and our partners, with Ingalls being one of those.
So I would echo that, and I would say there are a lot of things that SSI has developed over the years, some at our request, some at our desire. Some they brought to us and say, hey, I think some of these things can help you become more efficient. So all throughout the years, they've helped us make us better. And I believe because of our partnership, we've helped make them better also. Absolutely. So Emily, we'll turn it back to you for any questions.
That was a great presentation. Thank you to both of you. Yes, so we've got a question from the audience, and this is for you, Michael. In Michael's opinion, is the support and help you get from a technology partner as important as their software when it comes to making the business case for adoption?
Well, I think that in that case, it's you got to have both. I don't think you can have one without the other. So I would look at them as being just as important. If it's all about technology, you're going to go down the wrong path, and you're going to get technologies that you don't need. If it's just all about people and collaboration, you may never get developed what you need. So I think both of those things actually have to work hand in hand together to get you to the desired results that will get you the capability that will allow you to take cost out of your processes.
Great, thank you. And this might be one for both of you then. If a shipyard is looking for a new technology partner, where do you even begin?
Well, I think if you're going to look for a new technology partner, is you gotta take advantage of looking at what's in the marketplace. So these decisions are never easy. When we were looking at ShipConstructor, we were probably looking at 5 or 6 or 7 other design tools in addition to them. And we went through a very lengthy process before we selected ShipConstructor. And you noticed in what Pat was saying earlier, we just put ShipConstructor in one part of the shipyard to look at it and make sure that it did everything we thought it did. And then as we developed our strategic partnership, it kind of morphed all the way through the shipyard. So you got to look at whatever is available out in business, but more importantly, you got to make sure that you as a business know what you want that technology to do for you. You got to know what your requirements are, and then you got to fit the technology to your requirements rather than getting a technology into your shipyard and trying to fit the requirements to that technology.
Thank you. I think that was a great summary. So guys, we've run out of time now, but it was a very interesting presentation. And for everyone in the audience, if you still have questions that you would like to ask Michael and Patrick, then please contact them during the one-to-one meetings, and you can send them your questions and perhaps set up a meeting. So thanks again for your time, guys.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Now we're going to go to an interlude, and we're going to be coming back in 5 minutes for Yella's presentation from Sea Jobs. So see you all in 5 minutes.